Destroy all monsters.
I like the scene where Mothra is like going towards a train, and you see the train from really high up, and wasn't that a cool scene? Does that train remind you of a movie you worked on called Runaway Train in
Runaway
any
Train?
way?
As a matter of fact, I have a story about Runaway Train.
I knew you would.
Yeah.
It's story time with Mick. It's story time with Mick. Mick Strawn is the best. He is gonna blow your mind. Story time with Mick. Story time with Mick.
I was just recently talking to, in fact, just today, I was talking to Stephen Marsh, and he was the production designer on Runaway Train. I worked with him. I was an art director on Runaway Train, and he kind of was doing the LA sequence, and I was doing the, up in Alaska stuff with the actual trains. And we were talking about in the script, first of all, as Alaska is really like that. It's cold, goddamn cold. I mean, we're there in the middle of the winter, and I go in. I remember that Steve Marsh had come up from L.A. because we were kind of like dealing with all the actual trains and running through the snow, and he was dealing with the LA stuff, which was some of the close-ups of the train and all the control room stuff and that, and he had designed this control room literally off of the control room that we were taking a tour of in Alaska. And it was so funky for that. It was the 80s.
Yeah.
But the great thing about it is that this control room was set up pretty much the way that it would have been done in the 60s. That was set up pretty much just like like that film that we just saw, right?
Right.
I mean, it was literally a representation of the laid out in plywood all around you was a representation laid out with tape. I mean, really done nicely. Tape and like little switches and little mountains and stuff like that as a representation of the trains, the actual tracks that went through Alaska. And I remember even at the time thinking, wow, this is pretty funky technology. Because and they're explaining to us, like, basically it was set up so that they could tell where they were doing their snow work, right?
Yeah.
And literally this thing is all around us. It's like the biggest it's the biggest HO train track you ever seen in your life, except for it just has representation, just like pieces of tape, right? Representing the train lines, and there are lights everywhere, right? Like every 6 inches through it, there's lights, and I'm standing there, and I just met Steve Marsh, and I've been up in Alaska, dealing with all these problems and putting stuff together, and we're getting the grand tour, and so we're walking around, and he and I are telling this story to Jack Shoulder, and another director here today on Zoom, and we're looking around and saying this and this and this is our avalanche warning system, avalanche and poor weather warning system. We know by looking at what the lights, which lights come up, we know where we have to go clear the track or something, and we're looking, and Steve turns to me and he goes, well, hey, where are we filming? And I said, well, we're filming in through this segment, because you could tell, I mean, exactly where it was. We're filming in this segment, huge, all the way across here. And, over here, we're going through the tunnels where the avalanche gate is. And over here, we go over the bridge. And then over here, right there, is where the caboose jumps the track and goes through the switching shed, right? And and I'm pointing at it, and he said, and Steve turns and he points at it and he goes, right there, that's where the switching shed is. And so yeah, right there. And then all of a sudden, the light that's right on the track, right where we're pointing, just the light goes on red. Bing. and Steve turns around and goes, "Hey, what's the red light mean where our switching shed is?" and the train controller, head controller, walks up and he looks. He goes, "Oh, you mean was?" And sure enough, wow. That whole segment of track, including all of our work and everything, had just been completely buried in an avalanche.
Oh man!
I remember Steve said something like, "So when can we dig that our shed out?" And the guy goes, "April, maybe May." Yeah, which was a great. I mean, the thing is, and even Steve said that we would go along. We had built this whole support train and we would go out and we would film, and we didn't know when we would get back because there were avalanches happening all the time. And so once you started to film with the trains, once you started to go out into the wild, you had no idea when you were getting back,
right? Or if you were getting back,
or I mean, no, literally, like it could be weeks before you got back, and you'd be up in the middle. So we carried all kinds of food, and we had a kitchen, and we were all set up, and we had we're talking about this the segment of coming through this tunnel, right? And we're out on the train, and you would once you came out the tunnel, the snow was like intensely heavier. It was like this was the area that was really cold, where we were running, and you would stop the train, and I remember the first time it happened to me. I pull the door aside, and I get to they say, "Oh, we're going to go up and we're going to take care of the signs up here," because they say Alaska Railroad, and we're not supposed to be in Alaska, so we're going to have to Greek out the signs, and so in my mind, we're going to park the train, and then we're going to go and we're going to pull out the signs by walking up the tracks like a couple of miles and taking all the trains as we go, and I mean that's how it worked in my head. And we opened the doors, and I was thinking to myself, well, this is great. It's just like it's all even out there. I mean, from the door straight, it was even. And I took my first step, and I'm not kidding. It was nothing but white in front of me. And I went, what the fuck is that? And I'm looking up. And up here, like another 5 feet above my head, is the sunlight coming through a hole in the snow. I was like, oh, and all of a sudden it's like, how the scope of the job that you have to do all of a sudden changes.
Oh wow!
And all of a sudden you realize that the poles that have the signs on them,
they go way down. Yes,
are like 25 feet tall, and you just happen to be seeing the top 5 feet of them or 4 feet of them, and the rest of it. And it was like, oh, it was a lot of work from then on.
Wow.
Yeah, I had it was a good time. I mean, I was in the caboose when it actually. I remember we were sitting in the movies, and there was a guy that was right next to me saying, "You know what? It's weird. That's a really good miniature when the caboose gets hit by the other train." I was like, "Yeah, that's not a miniature." I was in that caboose, and we just missed our cue, and the other train hit the caboose.
And you were in there?
Oh
Oh,
man,
that's funny.
I got to tell you something. I was like, I was up in the turret, of the caboose, and that when I woke up, I was on the floor.
Oh, man.
I was on the floor, almost out of the caboose, back by that ring.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The ringback's out there, on that little cage porch out there, going. that was like 30 feet away from where I started.
Wow.
Great time was had by all.
Well, it
Great
sounded like
time.
a fun movie because other stories you've told about that are pretty intense.
Yeah. It was just, what was weird is it was just like super intense, and it was all driven by like just by weather.
Yeah.
And the whole experience was just weather and trains. I mean, there were just like little things that would just make you like go, oh, I didn't expect that. Like we would shoot the train, we would like get the cameras all set up, get the track prepared, get everything like, just pristine, and cover our own tracks and everything. And we were acting as, everything, the camera guys were there, but we were trying to like do multiple shots as it was going by. So literally everybody is out there, running one of the cameras, and the train, and we do that, one of those approaches of the train, and I think that we were also hitting it with a mirror, right?
Okay.
So that you do a shot, and you put the mirror at a 45 right in front of the train, and then just shoot it, and it smacks the mirror. And we were doing all that, and we all set it up for the first shot of the day, and the tracks are completely frozen. I mean, really deep frozen. Like this is like about between minus 20 and 40 degrees, right? And when the train goes past, it's like you just see it, and you realize they were sitting there, and we're talking on the radio, and he goes, what happened? Hello? Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. You are here.
Am I?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I can't see me on my end. I don't know what the hell went
You probably
wrong.
maybe changed your view somehow.
Somehow, even though I wasn't touching the
If I'm really big, it's just me. Or is it a...
Okay, well, hold on one little second. I might go out and I might come back.
You're the only person I know that has to see themselves.
Oh, shut up. I need to see myself. Okay. Oh, there I am. Okay. So
I have to see myself so I can talk.
I can talk. But the thing is so we set up all the cameras and everything, and the train goes past us, and it was going, and we had like gotten it back a ways, and that took forever, right? Then it goes past us, and when it went past us, it was probably bearing along about 40, 50 miles an hour. And turns out, because the tracks are frozen,
It takes longer to stop. I was waiting for that.
Yeah. It's like 15 miles. It was like 50, and it was going downhill, right?
Oh,
There's a grade right there. And literally we just waved by for 2.5 hours, just fucking sat there and froze our goddamn asses off for 2.5 hours until the train could get back, right? Like, holy crap.
Wow.
It's like the little weird decisions you make out there kind of they're not Southern California decisions anymore. They're like Alaska decisions,
Right, yeah. Well, I grew up in the subtropics of Wyoming.
Yeah,
so
right.
It's not that much
so I
warmer
think
than Alaska. In fact, we used to go to roads in the Snowy Mountains, Snowy Range in Wyoming,
Right.
where you'd see these, like in the summer, you see these long poles, and they're like they're actually literally trees that they took all the leaves off. And
Right.
It's just and they put that on the side of the road. They line them up on the side of the road. And when people first visit, like when they came from other places to visit us, they'd be like, "Why are those poles on there?" Say, well, that's how deep the snow gets.
Right. Exactly.
You have to see the snowplows have to find the road.
See, and you have to think to yourself that suppose that you were in a train and you pulled up and one of those poles was right next to you,
Right.
and it was only 5 feet high. And so what would you think? It was like, well, it's 7 feet or something like that. And you
No. We had to be careful when we went camping. Like when I was in Boy Scouts, we'd go camping in the winter.
Right.
And we had to be careful if we were camping on snow because we would have to see the signs that say, 30-foot base. That means there's 30 feet below you. And you have to be careful how you walk on it, like so you know it's firm enough to.
Man, yeah, that's I learned so much more than I ever had wanted to.
Yeah, and that's really like
there.
Alaska's probably more brutal, obviously, because of the. And you can't control the weather either, right? I mean, so it's like
Yeah.
it's like at least the plane goes by, you can just wait, but avalanche.
Yeah, avalanche. It's also like that thing of we kept misplacing cameras, and I mean at first, there were little tricks that we started to like get a hold of. It is like tying a string to things.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Tying strings to tools.
The clapper.
Yeah. Just because you're losing everything in the tunnels and oh yeah, I literally and they say, well, when are we going to be able to find that? It's like.
Did you have a lot of equipment you had to go back for in the summer?
Oh, I don't think that we went back for it. It just died out there. I know that we lost at least 2 Aeroflexes, 35 millimeter Aeroflexes, and at least a couple of Mitchell little crash boxes out there, and just never saw them again. I watched a guy fumble a lens while standing on a trestle, and we all watched it just go. I mean, like the entire crew just went.
Oh wow!
In the snow. Yeah. It's like it's not like you could go down and get it because you couldn't see where the hell it landed. It's just like, poof. Oops.
Oh well, it's part of nature now.
Yeah, it was absolutely lunatic.
Did you have any encounters with animals?
I did indeed. We were like hanging on this like weird cliffside, and it had a road that led off of it that an avalanche. We were putting an avalanche gate at, right, and it was like literally must have been at least 400 feet down, 400 to 500 feet down to the river at the bottom. So the train comes out in a tunnel, and so that goes back up and is at least 1,500, 2,000 feet high, right? So you're just on the side of this hill, but they've cut a road in all the way back there that creates the platform where the train comes out. I spent a lot of time on that platform, man, I'm telling you. But the weirdest thing is that there was this little cut in up a little bit that you went out to take a leak, and it had like trees stuck in it, and so you'd walk down into the cut in, and that was the bathroom, and I was pissing behind a tree, and I hear this
Yeah,
and I smelled this awful smell.
And it was a production assistant. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. we just hired a moose.
Oh, it was a
And
moose.
I
Oh
kind of
man.
peek out from behind a tree, and there's this moose, and the thing is the moose is like maybe 30 feet away, 20 feet away, right?
And people don't
and-
realize how big those things are.
Oh my god! Oh my god! And they stink. Oh, it's like 30 feet is not enough to
Right.
be away from one. I mean, holy shit! And not only that, but there's something that that they don't tell you about it is that when I kind of moved out, I moved out to see what that sound was. And I was like, oh fuck, it's a moose, and I'm looking at him, and he's looking straight at me, but he doesn't see me
Right.
because he's looking straight at me, right?
Right.
So he starts to swing his head, and it's one thing they always tell you is like, be careful. When they start swinging their head, they're looking for you,
Yeah.
right? Because they have to get an eye on
They'll
you,
charge you, basically.
Right?
Yeah.
And so he's swinging his head, and I just kind of like ease my way back behind the tree, and he walks up until he's just like right on the other side of the tree, and I can hear him, I can smell him to high heaven. I thought I was gonna throw up, and the thing is I could still see, because I could see his antlers move from burp. And then I'd see
Still
the
looking
other
for
one
you.
come in, and he's still looking for me. He knows that I'm there somewhere.
He probably thought you stunk. He's like, what's that smell?
What the hell is that smell? And he finally walked away, man. I tell you something. I didn't pee. I probably didn't pee for 4 or 5 days. But man, it's like you know, I'm looking straight ahead while I'm describing him to you, but it's not like that.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, they are so much bigger than you think. They are not equivalent to a horse.
No, the first time I
Yeah.
saw one was in person near a river, and I was like petrified. Like, oh my god!
I remember I was driving back to Kennewick one time from Salt Lake City, and I was coming at night. Some of the mountains in between, just before you're getting to Idaho. You know, some of those long mountain stretches. And I saw something in the headlights, and all of a sudden I realized that there's 2 moose standing right in the middle of the freeway, right?
Oh, man. Yeah.
And I just went right between them. You know, I didn't have enough time to make a controlled stop. So I figured, well, I'd rather have control and keep going. But they
Yeah.
were just standing there anyway, so they had no idea what was going on.
You wouldn't
There
want to
was-
hit one, probably.
Well, one more funny thing before we go. I did wake up one day, and there was a newspaper out of Fairbanks that said they have a problem with the moose like to walk on the railroad tracks
Okay.
because they're easy to get around, right? So they kill 70 to 100 a year are killed by the trains, and they literally have a specific engine and car that goes out and picks them up.
Wow.
And then they're given to the poor, right?
Oh, okay.
Because moose meat is a hell of a lot. It's a hell of a lot of meat. But like I say, the great thing is that there was an overhead shot, and there was a dead moose laying over on its side, and then right in front of it was a train that was laying on its side that was and the first 3 or 4 cars of the train were laying on its head, and it said Alaska Moose score was the headline. The score is now 50 to 1.
That's awesome.
I thought, yeah, that's a good headline. I'm going to go back and find that someday. Oh, well, you know, that's what happens.
Right. Show business. How glamorous it is, right?
Da, 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 da. We were standing on that one spot there, you know, looking out. What the hell were we looking at? We were looking up this place called Bear. I think it was Frozen Bear Creek, which was the ravine that we were standing next to doing all that work and stuff. And I'm standing there with this carpenter by the name of Mike Carr, and we're starting to do the avalanche skates. And he says, "Oh," he says, "Look at this." He says, "I've been up here for 20 years and I have never seen this before." And I go, "What are you talking about?" He says, "Yeah, it's because you Hollywood people." And literally, he goes, "Look down that way," and I look up the creek, and there's an eagle coming. And then he says, "Now look the other way," and I look the other way. There's another eagle coming.
Oh,
and they come up, and they go up.
I can hear the music now.
Yeah,
The
they
porn
go
music.
up. They grab talons and they fall.
Yeah.
And then they fall. And when they fell below us. I mean, because we're looking at them going down all the way almost to the ground, and then out, and they went through the whole mating ritual, which was about five falls. I guess it's 5 out of 8 falls or something like that. You know? So, and he goes, "God, I can't believe it. You heads come up here from California and from the film business, and the next thing you know, Mother Nature's getting into the act too." Oh, there you go. Thank you, Mark. Thank you.
Maybe the Eagles were shooting a porno and you guys walked on set.
Hey, you don't know. You just don't know. And you know what? I've learned to share.
Right. Yeah. Well, eagle sex is probably a lot nicer than moose sex.
It's not like it's the first time I've had to share my sets with a porno.
Oh boy. Ugh. I wouldn't want to share anything with the porno.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't intentional. So, yeah. So.
I think,
Well, that was a wild and woolly.
So we just need to review Runaway Train,
Right,
and then
wasn't
we'll kind of take these stories and just smush them in there.
Yeah.
Unless you want to tell them again.
It sounds like it's a 2-parter to me. That's all I have to
Actually,
say.
that movie gets more interesting the more you talk about it, because I don't remember ever seeing it. I think I've seen it, but I don't remember much about it. And but you keep telling me stories about it, and I'm like, it's epic.
It is an epic story. It's a great story because it's just it's got so much so many weird elements going on, and it was such an oddball crew, and it's like stupid men against weather.
Right.
Stupid men against weather, telling a story about stupid men against weather.
Right, exactly.
It's like the filming couldn't be more like the film if it tried. This, or as I like to say, this couldn't be more like this if it tried.
Isn't that life imitates art, or whatever, however they say it? Oh, look, a train just crashed.
Hey! Oh, wait! The film's over. Wait, no. They'll know the ending now. Okay. Oh well. Anyway.
See, that was timed. That was off.
That was damn well timed, but no, it was perfect. It's like it was on the off. Oh my God.
It's not a moose.
Is that the moose or is that the eagle? I don't get it. Okay, guys. Well, that was a lot of fun.
It was. Probably more fun for me.
I had a good time too.
But yeah, so
this all comes down to this: is I'm actually doing a film now with Steve Marsh that starts in September, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, September through October.
Cool.
The first thing Steve says is there will be no trains in this. None. None.
No model trains? Not even a hint?
Not even one.
Like one in the background or something? No? Okay.
No. I hear that whistle blowing, and I throw up.
Can't be as bad as those cat whistles, right?
Yeah. Okay, guys, I think we're
cat
out of
clickers,
here.
that's right there.
Cat clickers. It's the clicker.
Anyway,
God, it's been an interesting life, right? What the hell?
well, you're only halfway done.
Yeah, exactly.
You seem like one of those guys that will live to be like 100 just to torture people.
You know, never let it be said that Strawn didn't live long enough to be a burden to his children.